Hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Ruth, and let's chat about any human power. Thank you to Books Publishing and the author for providing me a copy of this book in exchange for my honest review. Let's get into it. Any Human Power was written by Manda. This is a Thrutopian fantasy political thriller. Thrutopian was coined by philosopher Rupert Read. The word combines through and utopia, the idea of a journey towards a better future by addressing today's challenges. It's about sharing stories and exploring solutions that guide us through the issues like climate change and inequality, paving the way for a hopeful and sustainable world. We start off with the story of Lon. She unfortunately dies. However, her story doesn't end there. She still has a significant role to play in the rest of the story. She makes a promise, and this is what kind of binds her from going to the beyond and still kind of being able to stick around in the real world. She's able to see her family grow and see her grandchildren's grow, but there's some drama that happens. And so here, Lon is still needed even in the afterlife. There's a lot of dense topics in this book, and so for it being about 390 pages, kudos to the author for keeping it dense but not having to write so many pages. For me, I'm on the boat of less is more. You can learn more about this book. Manda has a website and blog that you can follow, so you can kind of see her thought process in writing this book, some of the references that she uses. So I really like learning a little bit more about that. And it makes me feel like I was a part of the writing process, but not really. But you know what I mean? Like it's nice that authors are able to kind of share a little bit of their personal journey, a little bit about their life like that. So that was nice. I like the message as well. While this is a political book, there are a lot of social commentaries on certain things. I felt like it wasn't forced. I felt like it just went well with what was going on in the book, especially with social media, especially with cancel culture. Talks about, sticking it to the man. And for those of you who don't know what that means, sticking it to the man is like a slang when you are trying to defy authority or trying to defy the status quo. So I like that message about this book. I also love that because of the drama that happened in this book, the family came together. And I'm thinking, if this happened to me in real life, who would I want around me when this is happening? So I would want my family around me as well. So I love the idea of just like the family fighting together for a cause. And they're kind of going all in. And also they're using their strengths, resources, and just encouraging each other through this fight that they have to go through. And part of me, I kind of associate that with the title, any human power. Maybe we feel like we are small, and maybe we feel like some of the changes we do don't make sense, or you feel like in the bigger picture it doesn't make a dent in things. But I feel like anything we do, there is a reaction to it. So any little action is how I take this book. Any little action you can do to make a change, do it. Any human power, right? Anything. It could be the words you write on a blog. It could be you just picking up trash. Even if no one sees you, like you doing that is your contribution to making change. And that's, to me, is how I interpret any human power. Any gift, anything you have, use it for good. There is because Lon is like the spiritual guide where she's kind of in between, there's also a spiritual guide, like an animal spiritual guide. So a crow, one of my favorite characters, because the crow is very like mysterious. giving answers to certain things, but not really giving answers to certain things. So it leaves a little like mysterious feeling, but also like that's what it is. Like sometimes life doesn't give you clear answers, and sometimes you just have to interpret or just try to work through those issues. And what I learned is in Celtic culture, the crow is symbolized as like having wisdom. Sometimes the crows can have influence with war, fate, and death. So that was a cool thing to learn about what crows mean. There's some things that go on in the book that I was very surprised with, a good surprise, because I didn't think that would happen. So I like that about the book. Not shy of just doing things. I don't know. That's like I'm not trying to can't don't want to like give things away. So that's why I'm like trying to like form my words carefully here. I love that, even though Lan isn't here physically, her grandchildren, her children are still kind of, calling upon her or like thinking of her guidance. And again, that's what I think about like when we try to leave lasting impressions on people, whether people are alive or dead, right? The things that you say do matter and people remember that. There's a couple quotes I want to share because I thought it like really meant a lot. So the first one is, the book is dedicated to generations who lived before us and to those yet unborn, that the wisdom of both may inform the present. So kind of similar to what I said earlier about, we have impact on future generations, whether we're people that are currently living and people that have died. Their actions have consequences. So that's how I took this quote. Another one is, you find reason to go on. And this one to me, although it's a very simple saying, I feel like it's kind of part of that like Throughopian idea where you just have to go through your problems and just fight through it, and find reasons to not give up, because there will always probably be a reason for you to hang on to something. So love the simple but deep message of that quote there. There's another topic that the family talks about called hopium. And I thought it was just a cute moment between the family members because they talk about hope. And so the mom was talking to her daughter, Caitlin, about hope. And so she sees how each of the siblings view hope. So one of the siblings view hope as like stupid hope. Another one viewed it as doomsday hope. So I thought that was a very cute moment there. Another couple positive things of this book. The book mentions about blockchain and Bitcoin. There's a character called Ruth, so that's definitely very biased on my end, but there's a character in the book called Ruth. Show Ruth some love, just because I feel like not a lot of people are named Ruth, so let's give some love to people named Ruth here. And on an unrelated note, how I would compare this book to is shows like Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot has a little bit of like that political cybersecurity genre going on there. Some not so favorite things about this book that I didn't like. I don't know how I feel about the emphasis of Lan and her being in Be Gone. Maybe it was too much of emphasis on that. And maybe I wanted more of her and how she could have affected her family more versus Lan being in that dreamlike, lucid dreaming world. But that's just me. And then there was, in the beginning, I was a little bit confused because just trying to grasp everything, there's some spiritual things to it, there's some political stuff. So just kind of grasping the world and how this world is being built. So that was a little bit confusing in the beginning, but then it was fine the rest of the like chapters and pages. I did like the gaming reference. I do like gaming, so I appreciate when books talk about gaming. However, I'm not really a fan of World of Warcraft, so it was a lot of references to that. So for those of you who do like World of Warcraft, maybe you should check this book out because they do have a lot of references with that. But for me, it was okay for me with that. Okay, I feel like I've been like rambling on, but I think my points have been made across. Good topic, good pacing for me. I would give this a 4 stars because of just how dense the topics were, but how concise the author writes it to be. And I would definitely recommend you check it out. But I also will probably need to reread the book only because I feel like there's going to be some points that I've missed. Again, it is so dense, but good, and so I think if I read it a second time, I think my eyes are going to be like, oh shoot, how did I miss this the first time, or like, oh, I didn't even think of it, or like the connections. So I will definitely have to read this book again, but definitely recommend. 4 stars for me. Like always, please let me know your thoughts. Did you like this book? Didn't you like this book? Who is your favorite character? Please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Before I say happy reading, make sure you go ahead and check out Amazon. You can buy the book there, and also check out the author's website to learn more about the book too. So I'll link everything down below. Okay, happy reading.